Matteo Gasperoni, un amigo de la casa. Welcome here.
Thank you so much.
Joining us again. Matteo is famous in all of South Florida. There's a lot of different players that have been talking to us. They ask in particular about FIU and about Matteo. So we have the honor to have him here on the show again.
Oh, thank you for the invitation. It's the second time I come here, and it's always a pleasure. I love to speak about soccer and about South Florida soccer in particular. So I'm always available for you guys.
And we have prepared a few questions because there has been so much interest. So excuse us if we go directly to the point and we start shooting you a few questions.
Perfect.
The first question is it worth investing money in the soccer development of the players or no?
Great question, and the answer is yes. I explain you why. I think the investment is when it's made for the kid to grow as a human first. That's why the investment is made with a purpose, rather than I make the investment just because I want my son to become a professional soccer player. All right. If you invest in your son to grow as a person, because soccer, as many other sports, gives you discipline, give you a lot of values that are useful in life in general. It's a team sport, so you need to learn how to interact with other players, with the teammates, with the opponent, with the referee, right? Rather than, I'm only investing because I want my son to become a professional soccer player, right? That's can happen, and it's great if it happens, but that's a plus, right? If a parent invests on you, on the son, just because he wants him to become a pro, it could be not the right way of investing money, right? Rather than if he invests in his son to his growth, and eventually if he become a soccer player, it's even better.
So to summarize, it's definitely worth it.
Yep.
It's better to come up with a mentality that it's gonna be investment, that it's gonna be useful for the rest of the player's life. But it could be the chance that he doesn't become a pro player.
Correct. It's very like the percentage of players that start playing soccer that become pro is very, very small. So has to be a realistic investment that I think it's always positive when it's made with the purpose of giving my son like a discipline and education, you know?
So for Matteo Gasperoni, what is better, talent or effort?
Talent is nothing without effort. So I would say first effort. If you have talent and you don't put hours into your work, is useless, right? So let's take the example of the best player in the world, Messi. I bet if Messi didn't play as many hours of soccer when he was super young, it would not be him, right? So it's a combination of talent. It's something that needs to be developed with many hours of work every single day.
That's super important. So then the other question that we have, which normally they write to us all the time about it, is what is the role of parents and the influence of parents in players and in the process of their development?
Yeah, great question. And I see that very often in my career because I work with young players. I kind of help them with private sessions. And every time I can see when a parent is helping the son or rather than actually hurting him. Because it happens sometimes that the parents don't approach the son's activity, which is soccer, in the right way. When a parent gives the platform to the son to compete. So if the parents can push a little bit their son in the right direction, that's good. But it has to come from the player, right? From the son, the desire of playing football, right? So I always give the example of myself. When I was young, I loved to play football since I was 5 years old. My dad could see I was always playing soccer. I was always asking to play soccer with him. But I was scared of joining an academy because I was shy and I didn't know how to interact with other kids. So my dad one day took me to the academy, right? I would never done that, obviously, at 5 years old by myself. but he saw that I was interested in it. I liked the sport. I had passion. I wanted to play. So he gave me a little push into that direction, and that was excellent. He didn't force me to do anything. He just saw into me like a talent and a desire of playing soccer, and he kind of provide the platform for myself. And it's the same for older players. You can provide a son to play in academy, to do the private session, but then if the son doesn't push for getting better, for improving, for passion, it probably not his path, you know?
Yeah, that's super interesting. And it's definitely something that is in the mind of all of the parents,
Yes.
the players.
Yes.
It's no secret that all of the parents want their sons to go to the best college. FIU is an amazing school.
Yes.
Before we get into FIU soccer program, we'd love to hear a little bit of what are the main differences between NCAA and European soccer.
There is a lot of differences, especially because the league, the NCAA, has a lot of rules and regulations. First of all, it's a college sport, so we're talking about student athletes, not just athletes. So there is obviously a mix between the athletic side and that has to respect the academic life, right? So first of all, the athletes are students, so they need to go to school. We have a specific timeline. We play our season in a very small window of time, as you know, from August to December. And then in the spring, we have friendly games. There is a lot of rules that we need to follow as coaching staff. And also, like what a lot of people don't know about NCAA coaches is that we're not just coaches. We are taking care of the players' academic side. We are taking care of the teams traveling. We are taking care of the teams' food. It's not just what they see on the field, but it's also the behind the scenes. In NCAA, the coaches have to do their job, while in pro teams, usually they have multiple people working on that, you know, and the coaches just do the soccer part.
So, how long is the season? Remind me how long?
It's 3 to 4 months, from August to early December.
And is it true that you guys, when the season is off, you play versus the pro teams of MLS?
Yes, correct. We are only one of the few teams that we schedule MLS teams in the spring, and we think it's a huge opportunity for our players to get seen, you know, from the...
Did you guys get crushed?
No, actually, no. In last year, we beat an MLS team in our field, Sporting Kansas City, which was playing the best players, the highest paid player, and we beat them 1-0. This year, again, we played again. We lost 1-0, so not very... It's a competitive game. We're not that far from them as many people might think.
So, how from the top teams of Division 1, FIU, it's in what level?
I would say top team from like there are 212 teams in Division 1.
Yeah.
There is a ranking. Right now we are in the 60s, but usually we've been always in the top 30, top 25, and this is where we belong. We've been we've been also in the top 10. So I would say FIU is definitely one of the top Division 1 team in the US. We constantly want to be in the top 25 because we want our player to get pro opportunities every year. That's our goal.
Would it be far-fetched to say that FIU is in the top 100 teams?
I mean, yes, I think it's possible, because if you count MLS, USL Championship, and our level, we could be in that discussion. Yes. Yeah.
How many people apply to FIU?
So many players want to come to us every day. I always say that, like, I receive tons of emails, between 30 to 40 emails every day. So there is interest, and it's not only from America. I receive emails from Japan. I receive emails from Eastern Europe, everywhere. It's worldwide.
Jesus, and how many? So I'm super interested in understanding what is the pathway between college NCAA level to the pro level. How does that work?
Yeah, there is two ways of going into the MLS or the USL leagues, which are the championship and the USL one. The first one is the draft, which is the very common, most American thing that it can happen. It's the same in the NBA and in the NFL and the other major sports in the US. And other than the draft, there is the pathway of signing a pro contract with a second or third division, and then try to build your stocks up to then go eventually second or MLS. So there is these two ways. The most common usually is the starting from a lower division to then play, go to the second and maybe MLS, right? Which it's a dream, but it's possible.
Man, that's incredible. That's super different than other countries.
Mhm.
So would you say that is very common here in the US, coming from college to pro?
Yeah, it is.
It happens.
It is. Every year we have 3-4 guys going signing pro. So it's a good number. And also my staff that they've been doing this for years, they can tell in the last 10 to 15 years they've been sending tons of players into the pros.
So the other piece that we are super interested in understanding is you were shaped in Serie A. What was your academy?
So I started playing professional academy in Cesena, which is the city where I'm from. Very good academy. I played there for almost 10 years as a captain of my division, my year. And then when I was called up with the national team when I was 15, 16, 17 years old. So with many games in the national team, I attracted the interest of the bigger clubs. Juventus wanted to buy me. My club didn't let me go. And the year after, the club had some issues, like financially, so they had to sell me, and Atalanta was ready to buy me. So I went to Atalanta for my last 2 years of academy, and Atalanta is, in my opinion, the best academy in Italy.
Yeah, it's very well known for sure. Atalanta for being one of the best canteras that is in Italy. So I'm curious, did it change quite a bit, the kind of drills that you have back in the day to the ones that you see here in Florida?
Yeah, definitely. What I see here in America are quite different from what I did in Italy, and obviously the time changes, right? Like the drills they get like renewed every year. However, I feel like what I did, I usually try to bring my drills to my younger players when they come train with me, because I feel like the school that I had, the soccer school that I had, would be so beneficial for these guys here. And when I'm saying that, I'm focusing mostly on coordination, all right? So exercises without the ball, just to footwork or harms.
But you do that at a private level.
Yeah. But that's for your younger players. That's for young players, because as you might know, our brain works in a certain way that until like the younger, the more plastic you are, the more easier for you it is to learn new things, right?
Yeah.
So as early you start, the better. You can still get better at 17, 18, 20. You never stop to get better. But those years from 5 to 15, those are crucial for the learning, the curve, you know what I mean? So I want to push hard with the young, and then the older, there is a little bit of difference. We work more on strengths, we work more on speed, but the technique part, like it's always present, like touching the ball, as many touches as possible on the ball. I feel like there is more need of individual focus on the technique rather than the collective in a development of a soccer player.
And let's take your example.
Yeah,
you were picked by your local academy.
Yeah.
What was the indicator? What was the kind of the thing that made you stand out? And how can you define as this kid is someone that has potential?
Yes, I think that's quite, I wouldn't say easy, but you kind of see when a player from a young age is talented. I was scoring 10 goals in my team per game. I was out of 12 goals, 11 were mine. I was always asking for the ball. I was always being the leader of the young team. So the agents, they can quickly understand when a young player, I'm talking about 7, 8, 9 years old, they have something more, right? But then it's like, as we said, talent is nothing without hard work. That's just the beginning for you. So how do you take that talent and you shape that into a soccer player, right? That's the hard work that an academy must do, right? Not just pick the player very young, but develop that player from 9 to 18 that's where Atalanta, I think, is the best in doing that.
Man,
In Italy.
and we've been talking offline. We crossed a few texts during the week. I am super sad that Italy didn't make it for a third time in a row. Italy, with one of the countries with the most world championships. I always think it's sad for Italy not to be in the World. And the World Cup is always better if Italy's there. At the same time, Italy used to have so many good players. What the heck is going on, man? What is happening?
First of all, it's dramatic for us Italians. We live for soccer, right?
Yeah.
It's not the only sport, because we are actually very good in other sports, tennis, athletics. So we are, but the Italians always had soccer as a first sport. That's the truth.
Yeah.
So it's very sad for the country. What happening is we're not producing the same players anymore, right? In the 2006 we had Totti, Del Piero, Maldini, Nesta, Buffon, Pirlo.
¿Qué pasó?
It's probably in the football is changing. The players are not playing anymore 10 hours in the street like in the past, where like Del Piero, Totti, Baggio developed playing in the streets, actually, like in the church, in Italy, for hours every day. Now I go to Italy, I don't see the kids playing anymore in the street, right?
Yeah.
But that's a problem, but that's kind of the development of the society, right? So why there is other countries where, I take an example, Norway, they beat us 2 times in the group stage. Why in Norway they don't play in the street, but they still like that good, they're growing so much. So I feel like there is a problem in our academies where there is too much effort, there is too much like focus on winning in a U12, U13 level, rather than the developing of the player. That's the big problem that I see right now in Italy. The coaches want to have a career, so they want to win with the U12, and they get rewarded if they win with U12. That's the problem, because you should, as an academy director, you should reward a coach that takes a player from level 6 to 8 at the end of the year, right? Yeah. Rather than, this coach won all the tournaments for the U12. That's not the point.
That's very interesting, because a few weeks ago we saw Landon Donovan talking about something very similar happening in the US. You see some kind of similarities between Italy and the US?
I do see. And also, like, these are my 2 main countries that I know the best, and I see the same problem with the US when I go watch a youth academy, and it also comes from the parents. I think they want their son to win. That's not the point. Your son win when he grows. Yeah. So when he develops, that's the win. No, he could lose every game at U12 and he could become a top player, when it's time to be a top player.
Yeah, for sure.
So there is this need of switching like mentality from like winning now rather than like developing the player to play one day in the professional level.
Now, in a more selfish note, we at Gen FC, what we do is we do pro player highlights, and we also help individuals in giving visibility and getting the attention of scouts like you. How important do you think it's to have a profile that shows, when I'm talking about a profile, I'm talking about social media, that shows the importance that you give to soccer?
I do believe social media have an important role in general, in everything, to communicate and to network, and what you're doing is amazing for these guys. I do believe that when I scout a player, obviously I don't start from social media, but when I talk to a player, I might finish up on his social media page to see if he has, like, how serious he is about soccer, like he's posting a lot of his highlights or games or picture with the teammates, or is like more focused on other stuff in life. There is any red flag from social media. The reality is that like not only soccer, but everyone, even the employer in the workspace, if they need to hire you, first they check your social media to see like what kind of person I'm gonna bring into my team, right? So it's definitely important. And if you have highlights and videos, it's great to.
That's something that's a must.
Yes, it's a must.
You need to have a video. Do you receive any emails without a video or no?
No, not anymore. It's very common now that the players have always a video attached, and that's the first thing you need to have for sure.
And do you see a difference between someone who made them themselves versus someone who took it to a pro level?
Yeah, I do see that. When someone does it professionally, it's way better. That's the reality.
Yeah.
So if you guys do that job for them, I think it's a great thing. The presentation is good. That's the thing. When you showcase yourself in the best way, showing your strengths, showing that you play a good level, that's always something that can help you.
Now, let me get a little bit into the weeds of FIU. You've been FIU is no secret is the best school at least in this region with regards to soccer Division 1. What is the mentality of your team? Well, what is your style?
So we are very aggressive in terms of the style of play. We like to press high. Everyone knows that because in the last 5 years we've been winning. We've been like successful. Everyone knows when they come to FIU, they will suffer a high press environment. Like they already know that they're gonna have hard time when they are on the ball, right? So we need our guys to be ready.
If they want to compete, they need to run.
Yes,
if they can.
Yes, of course. Like I was a midfielder and I love to have the ball. I love to be on the ball. I was technical player. However, when I moved to US, I kept learning. I thought, obviously, when you come from a big academy, Italy, you might know, which is true, but I came here and my coaches taught me a new way of playing football, which is way more aggressive, way more direct, way more fast, right? So I could like put together my experience in Italy with this one, and I became a better player. FIU definitely aggressive. Definitely we want to dominate in their half, so try to win the second ball every time, kind of suffocating the other team, right? Yeah. And we need to be confident with the back because when you do that, obviously you concede some 1v1s in the back. So we need a center backs with personality, 1v1 defense that can handle like the pressure of like counterattacks, right?
Yeah.
So,
well, what's the coach, your reference?
Good question. I love El Cholo Simeone. I was watching the game, the final that he just lost, but he's doing an amazing job in the last 10 years with the Atletico. I love the way he interacts with his players. I love that every single year his team shows like he's fearless, right? And this comes from him. The second one I love is Ancelotti. I always say that for similar reason. Everyone in the team likes him. He's more of a manager of like the people rather than the technical.
Yeah, that's for sure. You can notice when for El Cholo or Ancelotti, the players feel what they play with passion.
Absolutely.
Like it's very clear that they're part and they're also protagonists.
Absolutely.
With the team.
And also, obviously, I love Guardiola and Luis Enrique. I think they are the most technical and their teams play the best soccer in the world.
A dream for Matteo Gasperoni? What is it?
A dream is growing my career, become a head coach, possibly at FIU, if not in other top college in the US. And eventually also I'm open to pro opportunities. I would like to stay in America to help develop the soccer level here.
Yeah.
If an Italian team calls me, I will have to go though.
Yeah, for sure. It's a very interesting time of youth soccer here in the US. What would you say is the best state of soccer?
So I had the possibility to play and coach in California, and I think that's the best level where I see like local players are very, very good.
So you've got California, which is kind of a center. You've got Florida.
Yeah.
What else do you have? Texas.
Texas is really good too.
Okay.
Texas obviously a good influence also from Mexico, and they always produce a good amount of players. I would say like even Florida, like there is a the level is growing. So those states I think they are good level of soccer where it's getting better every day.
So the last question that we have, and to start closing up, is you mentioned at some point, I saw a few of the interviews that you had. You mentioned about the importance of a player to moving away from the comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
And when you think about how a player can improve their development, what do you recommend?
It's a great question, and I was talking like a few days ago with a colleague, and I expressed my opinion. What's one of the reasons why players come to US, or why a person likes to go to the US, for example? The possibility of playing soccer at a high level and do school, right?
Yeah.
Which is unique in the world. Or like the job market, which is amazing. In the US, you can have a career easier than in Europe. You can make more money, right? So why a player in the US, where right now the soccer level is growing, but is not as good as in Spain or Argentina, for example, right? Why these players, they don't want to try to challenge themselves and try to go 1 or 2 years to then come back in the US with a top experience, right? So for me, I would recommend any player in America to try to challenge themselves, try to get away from the comfort zone, get away from their moms, their parents, go to a different country, maybe different language, where the soccer level is higher, where they probably suffer, where they probably have some tough moments, but they help their growth as humans and as soccer players. Because I've seen that the players that have the courage to do that, they come back, they are different, right?
Man, and what are the countries what are the programs that you've been seeing? I'm sure that you've been seeing players going to different places.
Yeah.
It's happening more and more.
Mm-hmm.
What are the countries where players go?
Argentina. I've seen many players going to Colombia, which is another country that I think is like growing so much in soccer and producing players. Spain is a, and also Italy. It depends also where your club has more connection, but there is many clubs in South Florida, for example, they like to have this exchange of players where like, go there a couple of years in Italy, for example, practice with the lower division that is still like maybe like very challenging, for you as an American player, and then you come back and you have a different type of mentality, different type of skill set. You compete with guys that they challenge you every day, right? So those countries comes to my mind more often. But I also was speaking recently with a player that went to Germany for 3 years. England. We have a goalkeeper coming next year that went to England for 5 years. So.
Oh, also, what else? What's better than traveling because of soccer?
Amazing.
¿Qué puede ser mejor?
Nada.
Mateo, verdadero placer. La verdad que every time that you come, it's so insightful. There's a lot of people that are all the time thinking about how they can improve their chances to go to a great school like FIU. Mm-hmm. So we value and cherish all of your time here. Muchas gracias.
I appreciate you. I always like to come here. Thank you so much.
Tu casa es esta.
Gracias. Muchas gracias.